Hi, welcome to this series of videos. This is the fourth video in this series and the final one of this particular set. We've been looking at how to notate a melody as the first video. The second section was to look at a harmony track, and the third section was the embellishment track. And this one's looking at how to add a drum track into this program. So hopefully this might be a way of getting you started in creating a drum or rhythm type track using the drum kit in your arrangements of this program. So let's get into this. Okay, so here I have got my melody track, my embellishment track, and my harmony track that I've got in this particular order. Yours might be in a different order, that's fine, but as long as you've got these, you're ready to work on this final drum track. If you haven't done the other tracks, go back, finish them off, and then come back to this video when you're ready to. Now, first thing we want to do is add in our drum track. So the way we can do that is either click on the add or click the shortcut key, the I key. So here we go. So here's where we're picking our instruments. Now to find the drum kit or drum set, we've got to go down to percussion, unpitched. And here we've got the different sorts of things we can use. So we're going to be picking the drum set, add that in. And while I'm here, on this part of the screen, you can actually change the order. So I'm going to put the drum set down the bottom. If you wanted to delete things, you can do that here as well. Just bear in mind, if you delete something here, it will delete all the notes in the track of that particular instrument at the same time. So let's click OK. So now we've got our flute, saxophone, piano, and drum set. You might have different instruments in your arrangement, that's fine, but these are the ones I chose. So next we want to be able to input the notes. So I'm going to go through this in a particular order. So hopefully if you follow this order, you'll be successful in doing this. It can be a bit tricky. So hopefully I'll demonstrate a few of these examples of what might happen and how you can overcome them. So first step, select the bar that you're wanting to add the notes. We come up and click our pencil. And now we get our grid down here of what parts of the drum kit we want to use. So if I click on some of these, we can get the name and we'll hear what these sound like. So I've got acoustic bass drum 1, side stick, acoustic snare, electric snare, low floor tom, and so on. So you're able to go through and work out what these different lines and spaces are for the drum kit, which is very different to what we have with our piano, saxophone, where each line of space represents an actual letter name note on that instrument. So the one I'm going to start with is going to be the kick drum. Okay, and I might go with the electric one on this occasion. Next thing we want to do is think about what note type they need. So I'm going to go with the crotchet. I've got my kick drum, and now the cool thing about this is I can hover my mouse anywhere over the beat that I want, and it will put the note into the right line or space. So I'm going to click up here, and you'll notice that the computer's put it in the bottom space because that's where the kick drum goes. So we've now got that on beat 1. Now I want to have this on beat 3. So crotchet goes for beat 1. We've got a crotchet rest. I'm now going over here, and you'll notice that I've got these rests and another rest has appeared at the top. These green notes are sort of played on a different part. So it splits some of these notes into blue color and green color. So we're putting these ones in along the bottom here in the green color. So we're going to pick beat 3, and this time you can see I've got these letters. I'm going to actually type the letter B with my mouse hanging over there. Actually, I've got an arrow across, and then type the letter B. And that's another way you can input these notes using the shortcut commands that happen to be over some of these notes. So now I've got my kick drum on beat 1 and beat 3. Next I'm going to move to the hi-hat, and I think it's this one. Yep, the close hi-hat. So I've got that selected. This time round I'm going to change to my quavers or eighth notes. Okay, and again when I click this on beat 1, things might start to jump around. You may have seen my screen jump. So I've got my first quaver, I'm going to click my second quaver, and now when I finish fill in the rest of the bar, the easy way to do that is with the shortcut command. So I'm going to keep typing G on my keyboard until it's full. So I've just filled my bar with quavers. Now the next part's the part where things might go wrong, and I'm going to show you an example. So I'm going to want to put my snare drum part in on beat 2 and 4. So let's select my snare drum. I'm going to go with that one, the acoustic snare. Now I'm going to change this back to crotchets. Now when I click in a crotchet, this is what's going to happen. It's taken the value of the notes above it. Okay, so you've got to watch out for, if you're doing blue notes above and below it with your rhythms, make sure your rhythm note or your rhythm note is the same note value as the one above it. Okay, so I'm going to undo that one, and this time I'm going to go back to my quaver because I did my hi-hat with quavers, and I'm going to click that in this time. Now I can have my snare and hi-hat at the same time. So I've now got that beat 2 and beat 4. Over here is where I'm going to put the other one in. So there we go. Let's have a quick listen to this one. Okay, hopefully you can hear this basic rock beat. Now does the rock beat really work with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Not really, but it is a way of you learning about how to input these things. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to get your rock beat in there. Now, in the last lesson, lesson 3, we looked at copying, pasting. This time I want to show a different way of getting your drum beat into your other bars. Now, we're going to unselect the pencil, select this bar by clicking anywhere in it without clicking on anything, and now I'm going to repeat the bar. And the shortcut key to repeat is to press the R key. So I'm just going to press R, and I can keep pressing it. I'll just scroll down. And I'll scroll down a bit more. And I've got to scroll over for my very last bar. And I've now filled all of those bars with those rhythms. Okay, so it's a quick way of repeating rather than copying and pasting. Hopefully that's another useful tip for you to use. Now, so we've now got our rock beat throughout our whole part. The final part for this little assignment is I'm encouraging people to have a go at doing drum fills. So I'm going to show you some simple ways of doing that. Before we do that, I want you to understand a little bit more of what we did in the last lesson where we looked at adding quavers and semi-quavers. So let's jump over to that example we spoke about in the last lesson. We looked at, we had our crotchet beats, we had our quavers, which was this note with the one tail, and when we put them next to each other, we get these beam notes. We spoke about also having the semiquavers, and they can join up in groups of 2 or 4. And we spoke about if we had combinations of quavers and semiquavers, and they can be joined up as well in a few different combinations. So this is the idea of what we can use for our snare drums or solo drum fills and things like that in our piece. So let's go back and have a look at this. So where might I put a solo? So how you can decide is simply have a listen and stop the music where you think a drum fill should happen. So let's give that a go. Let's unselect that. There we go. I have a feeling I can do a drum fill in this area where I've got minims in all the parts. So I'm going to do a simple one on the snare drum. So let's change that crotchet to 4 semiquavers. So I've got it selected. I've now changed it. Now you notice how some of these rhythms will change as well. So this is where you might need to think about having the same rhythms above and below. So let's have a look at what we can do to make this happen. I'm going to have the snare drum be the feature. So I've got snare drum selected. And I've got that in there. So let's have a listen to what that sounds like. Which isn't too bad. What happens if I get rid of these little hi-hats? So the way I can do that is I can click on it and hit the delete key on my computer. I'll get rid of that as well. Let's have a listen to it now. I like that. That's not too bad. So let's have a listen and work out where I can put another drum fill. Okay, I'm liking the idea of doing it after that minim again. Let's do a different one. So I'm going to add the pencil. I've got the snare drum selected. This time I'm going to go with adding some semiquavers. So let's see what happens when I click them in. Okay, and you can see how it's changed my rhythm above. Let's see what it sounds like first. So I'm going to select the start of that bar. Okay, I'm going to take out some of these hi-hats and see what that sounds like. Ah, that's not too bad. Let's go back to the beginning and have a little listen to what we've done there. Okay, so I've been able to make 2 drum fills in this. So my challenge to you is to see how many more drum fills you might do and things you can do to make your rock beat sound a little bit more interesting. Okay, so as a final thing, if you've listened all the way through here, I've created another one with a complete drum track, and hopefully this might give you some ideas about a drum fill you might have at the end of your song. So let's jump over to this one, and I'll give you a chance to have a listen to this one, and hopefully it might give you some ideas on what you might be able to try for your arrangement. Okay, now the final thing I might point out is I found it quite hard to hear my different parts. So what you can do if you can't hear your parts, if you come up to the mixer, I'm going to turn down my drum kit a little bit more. I've already turned down my saxophone. I'm going to turn that down a little bit more, and we'll see what that sounds like. Okay, so hopefully that has given you a few ideas on what to do. If you've enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed this arrangement task, definitely let me know about how you went. If you've had some troubles, also let me know in the comments section if there's any things that I can help you with this particular task. I've also got some other videos on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe about those, and don't forget to hit like on some of these things so that if you will be able to let other people know that you found this particular video interesting, or this series of videos. So thanks for listening, and hopefully you've been able to create some really good arrangements and keep up with your music. Catch ya.